I'm Mike.
I'm Jason.
This is Snake Envy. We're excited about some of the things hatching today, so we will get to that, and we'll show you some of the new hatchlings. We're going to show you, too, the pairing that resulted in some of the hatchings. I think that's interesting, too, to see the parents.
For sure. On certain things, it's like night and day, so it'll be cool.
Yeah, I remember you and I having a conversation last year, and it's in one of our videos where we were talking about the fact that as consumers, we don't always appreciate, like we always want to see the parents. What do the parents look like? And then you pointed out you may not be impressed by the parents because generation by generation, it gets better and better and better.
And certain things are circumstantial, as well.
Yeah.
And so there's so many factors. But yeah.
But we thought it'd be interesting to show you guys a pairing and show you the hatchlings. And it's also interesting, too, because in Pituophis, we're going to show the contrast between the plain babies and at least an idea of what they're going to become, but we're kind of assuming they'll be even a little better than the parents. So that's exciting, too. All right, quick feeding tip. Have you ever warmed prey in order to feed it to colubrids?
I have really not done that. Maybe with like some pinkies,
So for hatchlings.
For hatchlings. But like...
It's just one of the tricks in the book.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it working, like where...
Yeah.
Like I've seen in the field where, a snake's eating a dead roadkill off the road and it's air temperature, whatever that may be.
Right.
And so... But I can see, like, they pick up on that. They pick up that it's hotter, like,
Yeah. We've talked about many times that snakes don't just eat via smell. And we've shown examples of with new prey items, and snakes will rub up against things. They'll, they'll really check things out. And if they get a sense of warmth, that could factor into whether they would eat or not. Yeah. So I don't think warming prey is necessarily a bad thing. I think what I see online, though, and again, so much of what we talk about is the advice beginners get. And in my view, they're always overcomplicating things for beginners and making things too difficult. It shouldn't, with colubrids, be necessary to warm the prey of snakes week after week after week after week. The only animal in my collection that I've ever warmed prey for was my green tree python. Now, he's 15. When he was young, he was very, very motivated by the heat and by the heat pits. I really do believe that as a young python, the heat pits were kind of the dominant sense in terms of eating. And it didn't take much. He has a light for heat. I would simply put the prey under his light for a minute, and that's all it took. It just raised it up above, room temp, and it got it up closer to my body temp, where my hand was always appealing to him when he was young too. So there's no doubt that those heat pits played a very strong role when he was young in terms of eating. But as he got older, I'm sure he started to recognize by scent and by sight, hey, this is food. He also started to know that when the tongs were, I didn't even have to open the enclosure. If I had something on the tongs, he's already wondering what it is. So over time, his other senses took a larger role, and now it doesn't matter. He eats room temperature prey. When he was young, by the way, he wouldn't even eat prey unless it was off tongs. You had to simulate it being alive. You had to move it around. He doesn't care about that anymore either. Usually he's launching for the tongs before I can even practically get the door open. But he'll even eat drop fed now. And that's the point I want to make, is that even if in the beginning, maybe for a neo, it's one of those tricks that helps get a snake going, you shouldn't have to warm prey for the life of a snake. You
Yeah,
just
it's kind of an inconvenience, ain't it?
It's an inconvenience. The other thing I would say is I see a lot of people who are concerned about the fact that they're dunking all their prey in warm water. And then, of course, you're getting substrate and everything on the warm prey or on the wet prey.
Yeah.
I do know there's some people that wet prey intentionally because they feel like it's hydrating because they rarely catch their snakes drinking. But I assure you, your snakes are drinking too, even if you don't see it. But I think that's what we want to get to is, yes, it might be it's one of those tricks in the bag for getting a snake going. Try warm prey if nothing else works. But particularly for you beginners out there, it should not be something you have to do for the totality of a snake's life. And even in the case of a python with heat pits, it was only a year or two before that became less and less and less over a period of a year or two. The warming became less and less important. And he started to just, they also pick up on the routine. Your snakes know what day. When we're in here on feeding day.
If that cage is ever open, no, I'm just kidding.
You can barely start to slide the tub out and the snakes are coming. So they pick up on a lot.
Yep, they do. I have heard of boiling pinks. I've never tried that.
Boiling is similar to washing. So I know washing is one of your tricks where you wash the pinks. Boiling is very similar because boiling essentially, it's a form of washing. Yeah. It sort of boils away whatever natural scent and changes it. And I know you wash. You'll use soap and water on a pinky if you have to and just get rid of whatever that smell is.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes. So warming is definitely in the bag of tricks, but particularly for beginners, that shouldn't be a lifelong commitment where you have to warm prey.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't. It's
not super convenient.
No, and once a snake has had a few meals, the other senses are kicking in. They start to recognize it by scent and by sight. Yeah. And they will. If you're a beginner and maybe you've got a new snake, it won't be long before they know what day is feeding day. You'll see them out cruising around, and as soon as you walk in the room, they all perk up. So warming prey, good trick if needed. Should not be necessary long term.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you excited about what we've got going on over here? We're going to go take a look.
One of the things I'm excited to show you guys, and wasn't a great year for this, but we have one Metallica Great Basin this year.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's the only fertile.
It's the only one that made it. Wow. But from adults to baby is dramatic. So
very, very dramatic.
So that will be fun to see. Show you guys.
And I know you mentioned you've got an albino or two, and
we got some albino pine snakes and
northerns.
Yeah, northerns. Nice. We got a few things. So
all right, let's go take a look.
So here we have some gray basins, gopher snakes, and so this is a motley. This is a motley gray basin. This one actually is too. You might not be able to tell against this normal very easily. I can, just the way the patterning is. This one totally is a motley. And these will brighten up. They'll shed out. And
now describe for everybody what you mean by motley.
So this is a normal. It's just a standard Great Basin gopher snake. The patterning and stuff, this is pretty busy. But the motley has these softer edges.
And sometimes too, the pattern kind of breaks up.
Yeah.
So
it will generally clean up the pattern. This one's pretty busy. And they like to attack everything that moves. And then this one's kind of, geez. All right, guys. This one, I can just tell by the modeling of the pattern. Just because I've hatched hundreds of these. But for an untrained eye, that might look like a normal. So, and then I think we just have some heads popping out here. some albino pine snakes. I do have one hatched out. Let me grab it. This is one that hatched out yesterday. Had a jump. Wonder why I had a jump start on these guys, but it happens. Now, these albinos, they go through a pretty dramatic color change. They'll gain reds and greens and all kinds of weird colors. This is one we should show you an adult on as well.
Yeah, without a doubt.
All right, this is kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. It might be whatever to some people, but black rat. So a black rat snake. They hatch out. All rat snakes hatch out. Well, not all, but most. The North American stuff hatches out with pattern, which may or may not disappear, or turn into stripes even.
Yeah, so in the wild, we think of these black rats being mostly patternless, mostly black, but famous for the white chins.
So as a black rat, all this gray will fill in and it'll turn dark.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty neat look as a baby. I like the gray and black look.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Kind of gives it like an anery corn look or something. House snakes.
More house snakes.
This is another clutch hatching. You got a couple heads poking out. This one popped. This one popped, and when it popped, these junk came out. But a snake ended up still hatching out of it, and it's underneath all this stuff, but it's right here. Little guy, and I don't know if that affected things. Like,
yeah, maybe he wasn't able to take in as much of the egg.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the smallest house snake I've ever hatched.
Wow. Yeah, that is tiny.
And that may be due to, like I said, that stuff popping out. Very
and
odd.
on the close-up, it may not register really well just how small these eggs are, but in comparison to both the gopher and particularly the pine snake eggs, they are tiny.
Yeah.
So you get big clutches, small eggs. He's trying to get away from us. A little bit poking out.
Here is a Metallica Great Basin. So this thing had a silver hue to it when it hatched. And I was like, how is this an anery? Because I got it mixed up. But you can already see, got me. You can see some orange coming in. You can see already a little orange in the background.
And how many days ago did this hatch?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, 2 weeks.
He
So
just
it's probably already shed.
It's shed, yes. It has shed. Let me show you the parents. It's in the blue. It's such a magnificent animal, but it is drab right now. This is the father of that little guy we just showed you. He is in full on blue. His eyes are clouded. This thing is amazing. I'll show you one. This guy is very similar to it. Not as pretty as that other one, but it's a pretty decent Metallica here. Look how much orange that gained. Now the Metallica is the anery or whatever gene that gives it this metallic sheen. Now when you look at the head, this is the mother. She is more of a burnt orange.
Yeah. A little darker and a little less of that sheen.
Yeah, so it's more of a burnt orange rather than a pinkish Metallica orange. Metallic. But yeah, that's how dramatic is that from hatchling.
Central Utah? Southern?
The orange bloodline. It's mixed. It's not locality anymore. But the orange coloration comes from central Utah, yes.
Excellent. Let's take a look at some pines.
Now look at this green color.
Oh, yeah.
There's this green, which the babies don't have this green color. They also don't have this red coming in like this. These deep reds.
That is wild on an albino to see.
It's a weird thing. Red and green, this is Christmas. Like,
well, to see colors that deep.
Yeah.
Usually on albino, everything tends to go bright.
Yeah.
And to see that kind of brick red,
I think it's neat.
Really interesting.
I love this. The male's even neater. He's in the blue. But the boy is a little bit neater as far as the reds go.
Wow. All right. So for this week, what are you anticipating as the week goes on? By the way, it is World Snake Day today. So happy World Snake Day to everyone. But what do you anticipate hatching the rest of the week?
It's going to get crazy around here. A bunch of bull snakes, gophers and rats, and just a little bit of everything getting ready to kick off. Yeah.
Anything you're most excited about over the next week or two?
We're getting close to some gray bands, but we're probably 2 or 3 weeks out, but I'm excited for that.
Just as a reminder, remind everybody of what the long blotch, you're continuing to try to improve on that each year, but you got some very cool like ghost and hypo.
Yeah,
There's a possibility you get some more of those.
We should get some ghost, hypos, aneries, even some locality stuff as well. So we got some cool gray bands coming.
Very cool. Thanks.
Thanks.